In the last class, we just introduced binary search trees, and before even insertion and removal, we thought that we'll do a search. And the reason was that it was easy to visualize that the tree is going to be such that for any node, elements on the left hand side are going to be smaller than that node's value, and other way around for the right subtree. So we developed a search mechanism as shown on the screen, and also looked at it last time. Any questions on this search? Does that look all right? Any issues? Okay, so since there are no issues, we'll move ahead, and we'll look at bst.cpp in a while when we look at the insert. Okay, so then I would like you to write down the code corresponding to find min. Right? So given this search tree, I would like to do a find min. In this case, it should return 1. Right? So please write down the code either online or in your copies and share if possible. The question is, won't the leftmost node always contain the minimum value? Well, sure. So that is something which we have to understand, whether it is going to be always the leftmost node, or is there something different that is always going to happen. For example, in this particular tree that is shown, as Sai Charan is saying, that you go from 6 to 2 to 1, and you will always get the you will get the minimum value here. Is there any other possibility? For example, if it is, let's say 1 is not present, then what will be the minimum, right? In that case, we'll say that 2 is the minimum. Is that still satisfying the property that it is the leftmost node? If 2 is not, 2 is not present is probably not the right thing to do. But let's say the subtree rooted at 2 is not present, then what happens? So please think of these options, develop the algorithm, and then code it up. Meanwhile, I'll go to what Mayank and Aniruddha have written. Find min says if root equals null, then return max. Okay. Otherwise, return max of root arrow data, comma find min of root arrow left. Okay, I think I didn't understand this. The reason being that if you have some value at the root, and then find min of root arrow left gives us something. For example, in this particular case, root arrow data is going to give us 6. And oh, I see. Okay, you want to say return min of root arrow data, comma find min of root arrow left, I think. Yeah, min, I think. Yeah, sure. Okay, I understood now. I see. So the leaves, when they go to the left or right child, which means that their roots are null, at that time they are going to return some max value, and then that combined with whatever is the value at the root, that is going to be the smaller of the, whichever is the smaller of the two values, that is going to get returned, and at the parent also a similar main comparison can happen, and so on, right? So that is one way in which that can be done. Sure, that should be all right. There are definitely little more comparisons that are happening here than required. For example, we will return first the max, then we'll compare that max with 1, right? And we'll say that 1 is the minimum. Then we'll keep on checking 1 with 2, 6, and all the way up to the root, right? So some of these can be reduced, but otherwise the code seems to be all right. Aniruddha says if PTR arrow left equals null and right equals, that is, it's a leaf node, then return PTR and PTR equal to PTR arrow left. So this seems to be probably a loop or maybe a recursive call. Sure. So you go until the leaf node all the way using only the left links, and whichever is the last one that is being returned in Aniruddha's code. Madhur says tree node root current PTR, while current PTR arrow left, current PTR arrow return current PTR. Sure, except for the root node being empty, which in that case find min is not defined, but yeah, because of that you might get a seg fault, but otherwise the code seems to be all right. Sai Charan has written the code, find min of root while root arrow left, root equal to root arrow left, see out root arrow value. Yeah, that seems to be fine. Aniruddha has written a modified code, used enter instead of shift enter. Okay, no problem. Yeah, PTR equal to PTR. Yeah, but Aniruddha, still either a loop or a recursion is required, but otherwise it seems to be fine. So good. Some of you have written this, and all of you agree that the minimum is always going to be the leftmost node, right? So that should be understood. Once you have that, then coding it up is more like a hard work kind of thing. But once we understand it, looking at the logic of how BSTs are created, then we are good. So that seems to be good, and I'll also use in a similar manner where I have used -1 as the sentinel value if the root is null, right? So if it is RR arrow left, then I'm going to do find min of RR arrow left. Otherwise, whatever is the current node, I'm just going to return that data. Yeah, so that whatever is the data that is being written. So finally, at the leaf node, I'm going to return RR arrow data. Otherwise, for each of them, I'm going to just go recursively to do a find min on the left subnet. Right? So this part seems to be okay. Yeah, this is just a sentinel, which can be anything, or you can print an error and so on. Any questions on this find min? Okay. So if there are no questions, well, I would have asked you to write an iterative find max, but I think some of you have already written that, so that's good. So please take a look at the. Okay, but yeah, I want you to write an iterative find max, not find min. Yeah, I want you to write an iterative find max. Now you want to find the maximum element in the BST. Let's think if it is always going to be the rightmost node, right? Similar to the leftmost node for find min, and accordingly do that. Sampriti says, is it possible that the number 3 can be replaced by a number less than 1 in the tree shown? So let's see. Let's say that can 3 be replaced by 0, right? Let's check that. So when you have inserted all these numbers, right, apart from 3, let's say now you are inserting 0. Where will 0 go? 0 will check with 6, then check with 2, and then it will not go to the right, but it will go to the left. And therefore, 0 cannot appear as the left child of 4. But maybe 1 is not yet inserted. Is it possible that 0 will go to 4 subtree? No, it is not possible because 2 is there above. Right? If 2 were not there, let's say it would have been 5 and 1 is not present. Right? So now the tree is 6, left child 5, but then right child cannot be 4 for that. Right? So then that will not happen. 0 will not go to the right subtree at all, and therefore it can't be smaller than 1. Good. Sai Charan says, if you want to insert 9, will we insert it below 5 or 8? Okay, so let's check that. So 9 is going to be checked with 6, and since it is greater than 6, we have to go to the right. And therefore at 8, it is going to be right child of 8, the value 9. Right? So it will not go to the left subtree at all, because we will then violate the constraint, the restriction that all the values at the root, at any root, on the left hand side should be smaller. Correct? Murari says 8. I suppose it is answer to one of these questions. Yeah, Sai Charan's question. Sai Charan, in that case, the largest number will be the rightmost value, right? Okay, you have to tell me. Anybody has any suggestions on is it possible that the rightmost child might not be the rightmost node might not be the one that should be written by findmax? Aniruddha has written find min while true PTR arrow left. Return PTR. Okay, find max. Okay, sure. So Aniruddha has said that it is always on the right hand side, so he has written the code accordingly. Naimisha says find max node if RR arrow right, return find max RR right, return RR arrow date, similar to how find min is implemented, and in a recursive manner. Sure. Okay. Mayank says find max root equals null, return PTR equal to root while PTR arrow right, PTR equal to PTR arrow right. Okay. So all of you seem to agree that the rightmost node is always going to be the maximum, and therefore there won't be any case where we need to worry about going to the left, right? So Madhur has written current PTR equal to root, if not root return -1, while current PTR current PTR arrow next. That seems to be all right. Andrea says while RR equal to RR arrow right, return RR arrow data. Sure. Aniruddha says right max has to always rightmost leaf, because if any element is greater a particular node, it has to be in right subtree of the node. Sure. So that seems to be reasonable, and let's check that. The problem, yeah, so I think I have written find min iterative rather than find max iterative. Right, sorry about that, but I think we can fix it. So find max iterative if PTR arrow right, then PTR equal to PTR arrow right, and return PTR arrow data. I think this can be modified to find max iterative. All right, so that sounds good, and it seems to be in line with what you all have been saying, and therefore we can assume that either all of us are right or all of us are wrong. Okay, so let's move ahead from here, right? So now, given this description and whatever we know about the binary search trees, let's insert it. First, we'll insert it manually, and then once we have developed a few examples, then we are going to develop the code, right? So I want you to insert the elements in this order into a binary search tree, right? So initially the BST is empty, and I insert 6, so that becomes the root. And as soon as I enter 8, that becomes the right subtree of 6. As soon as I insert 2, you get the left subtree of 6, and so on. Right? So please write down the subtree, and I'm going to tell you some more insertion sequences. Hopefully that will give us a clear idea as to how BSTs look like. And in the process, if there are any questions, feel free to ask and discuss. Okay, if you have drawn the tree, can you tell me what are the left and right children of 5? Okay, Ashwin says 5 is a leaf. Are there supporters? Okay, Mayank says, okay, Saichand says 5 has no children. Okay. All right, so that sounds good. So let's understand that, right? So we have this root 6, 8 comes, it goes to the right. 2 comes, it goes to the left. So far 682 is as it is. I hope this part is clear. Okay, Naimisha has given the tree 6, then 2, 8, and then 1, 4, 5, and then 3. Good. So let's see if my tree matches with Naimisha's tree. Then comes 4. 4 has to go to the left of 6 and right of 2, and therefore the tree becomes like this, right? This is a binary search tree. Then comes 5, it goes to the right of 4. Then comes 1, which goes to the left of 2, and then 3 goes to the left of 4, right? So it compares with 6, goes to the left, compares with 2, goes to the right, compares with 4, goes to the left. So that should be the tree, which matches with what Naimisha had also written. Okay, any questions on this part? This answer is not unique, Aniruddha says. Okay, you give me a different answer.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
inserting 5.
Sorry, go ahead.
While inserting 5, we could have inserted it to the left of 8, right?
At 6, will we go to the right?
No, I'm saying at 5, inserting 5.
That is correct. When we compare it with the root, will we go to the right or left?
Oh, okay. So each time we start from the root, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Correct. That is correct. So that's an important point, that we have to always start from the root. Why? Because during searching, we want to take advantage of this property. See, the binary search tree, we said, has to follow this property that all the values to the left subtree are going to be smaller and all the values to the right are going to be larger. So if we insert 5 as the left child of 8, right, at 8 that property is satisfied, but at 6 that property is violated. So if we have to later search for 5, we cannot say that it is always going to be on the left subtree rooted at 6, because 5 we have inserted on the right subtree, right? So then we will violate the property. We won't be able to get the search complexity as we will. But you can imagine that we have to search only in the left part or the right part, similar to binary search. So therefore, this property needs to be maintained at every node. Good. Thanks for that question.
Sir?
Yeah, Sai Charan.
Once.
Yeah.
Sir, so I was thinking of an alternate way of doing this.
Sure.
As in maintaining the binary tree but inserting in a different way. What I thought was to insert 3 in the last step. Maybe what we can do is we can make 3 as the right of 2 and then 4 as the right of 3.
Okay.
That would still make it a binary search tree, right?
Yes, you are right.
I'm not sure if there's a particular benefit of doing it that way, but I thought like if we insert it in that fashion, it would remain a binary search.
Okay. So Sai Charan is saying that if you had inserted, let's say 2, and then we insert 3, which goes to the right child of 2, and then we insert 4, which goes to the right child of 3. In fact, after that, if you insert 5, that can also be a right child of 4. Right? So it's a right chain of 2, 3, 4, 5, which becomes a left subtree of, let's say, 6. Is that a binary search tree? It seems to be a binary search tree according to our definition, and we are not currently clear what is the benefit of each of these different structures. But what this conveys to us is that if you fix a particular order of insertion of elements, then the structure that you get of the binary search tree is going to be fixed. This structure that Sai Charan was suggesting, 2, 3, 4, 5, this will come if we insert elements in that order. So if we insert it in 2, 3, 4, 5 order after 6, then we will definitely get that structure that Sai Charan was saying, and we cannot get anything else. So therefore, the insertion sequence is very important when you are dealing with binary search trees, because the complexity is going to be dependent on how the structure is, as we will see shortly. Right? So we'll come back to this soon, and I'll give you a degenerate example of this. For example, okay, let's take that actually here. If I insert all these elements in the reverse order of their values, for example, I'm inserting it as 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? If I insert it in this order, what will be the tree that you will get?
A linked list?
Yeah, it's almost like a linked list, right? As Sai Charan and Murari are suggesting, it's almost like a linked list which is going all the way to the left, and the root becomes the first element. So that is also an important part, that the root is going to tell you how the binary search tree is going to be placed out. If my initial value is 6, my initial value is 8, then it's going to be a left skewed tree. If my initial value is 1, then it is going to be a right skewed tree. All the values are going to be appearing to the right. If we want it balanced, then definitely the middle element out of this sequence of elements should be the root. That should be the first element to be inserted. Can I repeat that in the left part and the right part? Yes. If I want a very good height balanced tree, then at every stage, whatever are the values, I should pick the middle of the middle of the values. For example, if I have to insert some element out of this, I will maybe choose 4 or 5, or maybe 4, because there are 7 values. I'll choose 4 as the first element to get inserted. Then 1, 2, 3 will be on the right, and 5, 6, 8 are going to be on the right. So that way the tree gets balanced. Within that also, within 1, 2, 3 also, 1, 2, 3 can form a chain if I insert it in that order. Therefore, I should choose to insert 2 after I have inserted the root for the left subtree, so that 2 becomes the left child of 4, and then 1 becomes the left child of 2, and 3 becomes the left child of 2. Sorry, 1 becomes the left child of 2, and 3 becomes the right child of 2. So, and I'll show you pictorially, but since this discussion came up, I thought that I'll mention. Okay, Murari says if it is sequential input, then no. I hope that is an answer to the not unique part. Yes, it is always going to be a sequential input, and you are going to get a unique tree. Right? Naimisha has also agreed that it's going to be a list if we have the fully sorted order. So let's do that for another insertion sequence, right? So for this insertion sequence, we got this tree, right? So that was what was our original example. If I change the insertion sequence, can somebody tell me how the tree is going to look like? Maybe you can just write 1 row per line per level, and that should be all right. Okay, so I can get you started with the simple answer that 4 is going to be the root. Okay, 4, then 2, 8, and then 1, 3, 6. Okay, and then 5. 4, 2, 8, 1, 3, 6, 5. 4, 2, 8, 1, 3, 6, 5. Okay. Chania, Murari, Rishabh, all of them agree on the structure. Sai Charan also says similar. Okay, anybody facing any issues in creating this tree, feel free to ask. This is the time to ask this question because things will get a little complicated as we move along. Mayank says 4, then 2, 8, 1, 3, 6, and 5. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so let's check this. So we insert 4, that becomes the root. First element always becomes the root. Then 8, that goes to the right of 4. Then 2, which goes to the left of 4. Then 6. So at 4 we check. It is large. 6 is larger than 4. We go to the right subtree. It is smaller than 8. We go to the left subtree of 8, and that is where we insert 6. 5 we insert as the left subtree of 6. 1 we insert to the left of 4, then to the left of 2. 3 we insert to the left of 4 and right of 2. So this becomes the tree, exactly the same as all of you have suggested. Okay. Then this is the increasing sequence, and we have already discussed that increasing sequence, it's going to become the right skewed tree, and the decreasing sequence is going to become the left skewed tree. And this shows that the order of insertion is going to decide how the structure of the tree is going to be. Right? Now let's do in-order traversal on the last BST. What will be the output of the in-order traversal on the last BST? Recall what the in-order traversal was. Left node and then right. So that was LNR was our in-order traversal. What will be the output on the last BST? The left skewed tree. Yashwant Reddy says ascending order. Mayank says increasing sequence. Murari says same. Well, maybe 7 is not present, but yeah, I understand. Any other answers? Shania says the same. Okay, so all of you seem to be agreeing that we get an increasing sequence for this decreasing sequence that we had inserted in the last part. Let's do it for the first one. Let's do in order traversal for the first tree shown on the screen. Mayank says same. Murari says same. Murari has taken the effort to remove 7 now. Good. Shania says same. Rishabh says same. Okay. Madhur also says same. Wow. All of you agree that irrespective of the order in which the insertions have happened, Suryanarayan also says that we are going to get the in-order traversal is going to give us sorted sequence. Mayank says always. So Mayank, I have not understood in all your statements throughout the course, what is that IG? You could, I guess, is it? Or oh, okay, sure. Thanks. Yeah, I'm a little old, so I don't know all the lingo of the newer generation, so to say. All right, so that seems interesting, and you can check that on the second insertion sequence also, whether you get in-order traversal exactly in the increasing order. And that is the interesting part about the binary search trees. We said that the structure of the binary search tree is dependent on the insertion sequence. But the in-order traversal is going to give us exactly the same output, irrespective of how the structure is. Irrespective of how the structure is, as long as the elements are the same. That is the power of binary search trees, that it allows you to then take advantage of this property that left subtree is smaller, right subtree is larger, and therefore you will be able to do a possibly faster search. Right? All right, any questions so far? And that also shows us that different trees might have the same in-order traversal output, but that doesn't mean that the structure is the same, right? So you can get same expression, right, without parentheses, so to say, same expression, but it can have different structures. And that was the ambiguity that we were talking about initially, and that manifests itself in this case. All of these have the same in-order traversal, all these 4 trees as well as more as you change the insertion sequence. There could be 7 factorial permutations of these 7 elements. And for all of these 7 factorial permutations, you will get exactly the same in-order traversal. And the structures will be different. Could be different. Some of them might have the same structure. For example, if you, okay, I'll ask you that also. Let's go ahead from here. Okay, let's come to the insertion now, right? So we have looked at the insertion as an example, but now let's look at the code. And now that we have looked at the insertion sequences and examples, I would request you to try out the code for insertion. Right? So you are given a value and you are given a root. Root could be null. And what you want to do is insert that element into that binary search. Please try the insertion code. You can write iterative, recursive, whatever is comfortable. Okay, so Naimisha says, I didn't get the question. Can you repeat it once? So the question is that I want you to write down the code for insertion. Now that we have looked at the example. Yeah. Once again, the WebGraphViz is going to be our friend here, which can help us in visualizing how the tree is getting built. Okay, Mayank has sent the code. Root val, if root equals null, root equal to new node, val return root, right? So that's an important part, that we need to return root, and the call should be root equal to insert of root comma val. Then root arrow val is less than equal to root arrow val. It should be less than, because we won't be able to allow duplicates in this case, but that's okay. Root arrow val is less than, oh, you wanted to say val, okay, fine. Root arrow val is less than val, then we have to go to the right, that is correct. Root arrow right equal to insert root arrow right val, correct. Otherwise left equal to insert root arrow val. Very good, that seems to be correct code. I'll wait for a few more seconds in case somebody else wants to share the code. As you can see that although there are a lot of complications that we had to look for when we were inserting, the recursive code turns out to be relatively easy. Let's see. Madhur says if not root equal to element, and we have to return the root, correct? Else if element arrow val greater than root arrow val, then insert in the right. No. We have to also have the return statement there in the insert. I mean, the logic is correct, but I think that root arrow right should get updated, because root arrow right might turn out to be null. So therefore, that should be updated. That is a very important point in case of BSTs. And similarly, in the else if part, we can have root arrow left to be updated. But otherwise, the code seems to be all right. Plus that, yeah, sure. Murari says root equals null, root equal to new node of data. Sure. We need to create a new node. And then return, we'll have to return the root, because that root we are updating is the local variable, right? So that is coming as a parameter. So we need to return that root. If data is less than root arrow data, that is on the left. So root arrow left equals none, then root arrow left equal to new node data, return, and then insert root arrow left data, sure. Otherwise the right part, sure, that is fine. Yeah, but I think there is one more. Yeah, here also, when we do a recursive call to insert, Murari, that needs to return the new pointer. Is that correct? Because you have done new node here itself. Is that really required? Okay, that is not really required in your case. You are right. So then new node, since you are doing a priori, you don't need to, I think, worry about the returning part for these, except for the root. That seems to be okay. Madhur says, I didn't get it. What was I explaining to Madhur? Yeah, what I was saying is that root arrow right and root arrow left need to be updated as the return value of insert. So the third line says else if element arrow val greater than root arrow val, then we have to write root arrow right equal to insert root arrow right comma val, because root arrow right might be null. And that we are going to return on insertion, right? So there is a new node that needs to be created, assuming that that has already been created, but root arrow right is going to get updated, right? So yeah, okay. Then Murari says vector int this root equal to null for I equal to 0, insert root vi 10 0 main function was complete. Okay, sure, no problem, that's fine. This will create a skewed tree. Andrea says the root equals null, then root arrow val equal to value. Again, before dereference, we have to make sure that it is non-null. So some memory allocation might be required. Otherwise, RR equal to root while RR. If val is less than RR arrow val, RR equal to RR arrow left. That is correct. Else, RR equal to RR arrow right. That is correct. But then in the while loop, somewhere we need to reach, right, the place where we are going to insert the values. So that needs to be done. So Andrea has tried an iterative code. That's interesting. And yeah, with some modification, I think that can be made to work. All right, sounds good. Let's look at the code that I have. Yeah, so some points about the insertion order may change the tree structure. This we have seen. But different insertion orders may form the same tree. This is also an important point, which I think I'll ask you to do some classwork a little later. In order, traversal prints the values in exactly the same order. And this is the sorted sequence. First insertion forms the root. Insertion always happens at the leaves, right? So that is also another observation. And new node cannot be added as an intermediate node, right? So insertion order decides the tree height. This tree height is going to be important from the perspective of the complexity of search. All right, so okay, so that's the class one. We'll come to the insertion code, but find 3 different insertion orders such that you get exactly the same tree. Andrea says RR arrow val equals to if exit conditions meet needs to be added. No. This will never happen, Andrea, because all the elements are unique. So RR arrow val equals val will never happen. We are in the insertion, not in the search. Right. So therefore, we'll have to say that if you are going to the left and that left part is null, then we have to insert that element to the left, and similarly for the right. That's what we will have to do. So here, assigning values at the leaf node where it needs to get inserted. Yes, that is correct. Just that since we are writing an iterative code, we won't be use RR because RR will become null. We'll have to use RR arrow left and RR arrow right. That if those are not null, then you insert. Otherwise, you go update RR equal to RR arrow left, like that. Okay. So let's see who is the first one to give me different orders. Okay, Ashwin Krishna has given 4, 2, 1, 3, 8, 6, 5, correct? 4, 8, 6, 5, 2, 1, 3, correct? 4, 2, 8, 1, correct? 3, 6, 5, correct. Madhur says 4, 8, 2, 1, 3, 6, 5, correct. 4, 2, 8, 1, yeah. And then you do a permutations at the same level, right? So that should be, so at least you can do permutations at the same, amongst the children of the same node, and you will get, in fact, at the same level also, and you will get different insertion sequences which give you exactly the same structure of the BST, but you can do more. That is, for example, apart from switching 8 and 2, for example, you can as well insert 6 and 5 before even inserting 2. That is also okay, right? As Anish has written. So that's good. That's good. So I hope you are able to see that different insertion sequences can give you the same BST structure also. Right? But the insertion sequence decides the structure. That doesn't mean that there is a unique structure to each insertion. Right? So that should be understood. Any questions on this one? Okay. So just to give you some examples, which I think Anish and Madhur have already given, and there could be more. Right? Okay, so I think insertion, we have not looked at the code. Let's look at the code and then we will look at remove. Let me go to the code. So I'm going to go directly to the insert. There are going to be 2 insert calls, one from the outside world where we just pass the data because root might not be known. So what we do is we create a new node corresponding to that data directly, assuming that all the values that are being inserted are unique. So then we don't have to really check for that particular value. And then I'm going to call it as root equal to insert ptr comma root. Right? Or root comma ptr, whichever is appropriate signature. Right? And then that pointer I'm returning, but anyway, that is not very important. Insertion is going to be rather straightforward, as we have already seen. If it is null, then I'm going to return ptr, and therefore root gets the new value of that ptr, right? Because this is the first node to be inserted, but this is also getting used by the recursive call. So we have to be a little careful about this part. If ptr arrow data, that is the one that you are inserting, is less than RR arrow data of the root's data, then it should be inserted to the left, that is this part. But whatever is the return value from there, that should get updated to RR arrow left, because RR arrow left might be null. Right? If it is non-null, then it is okay. Then we are just going to return RR finally here. But if it is null, then I need to return this PTR. Right? So based on these two values, either this PTR or the root, I'm going to get the appropriate value. So first time RR arrow left is null, it is going to get the new value which is coming from PTR. If it is non-null, then it is going to get its own value. Right? So that should be understood, because this RR arrow left becomes the new RR. So that is what is going to get returned if RR arrow left is non-null. Right? So that is what insert is going to return. So this will assign its own value to itself. Right? So first time RR arrow left gets the new PTR value when it is null. When it is non-null, it is going to get its own value, because the RR arrow left is not going to change. Right? So that is a little clumsy part, but I hope you get it. If you have any issues, please feel free to ask. And the insertion to the right subtree is symmetric. RR arrow right equal to insert PTR RR arrow right. Right? So that way it becomes really short code. But then we have to think a little complicated before insertion, right? So we have to take care of different cases and so on. And this takes care of all the cases, so to say. Any concerns, questions on this code? Okay, so let me, since I'm in this window, let me just show you the print graph is formed, because that printing is going to be important from the perspective of visualizing. That is very similar to what we had earlier, and since in this case all the values are unique, we are doing good. If the root is non-null, then we go inside. If then since I am going to print the left subtree and the not necessary in this case, you can print the left edge first and then the right edge, or right edge first then the left edge. It doesn't matter, but just that I'm printing left edge first, right? So this is edge, right? So there is nothing like there is a loop here, but there is going to be a recursive call while for printing edges to the left and printing edges to the right. So whatever is the current roots or current nodes data that I'm printing, then there is arrow, and then there is RR arrow left arrow data. Right? Because RR arrow left is non-null, I can dereference RR arrow left arrow data. If RR arrow left is null, then that means that I don't need to worry about that edge, so I don't need to print it. Right? So once I have printed this particular edge in the GraphViz format, then I go to the left and print that. And exactly similar for the right subtree. So I'll kind of stop here, and then if there are any questions, we'll take those up now. Removal of an element from the BST we'll look at in the next class. I'll wait for any questions here. All right, so if there are no questions, then we'll stop here. See you in the next class.
Sir, just